So this is the Atom Pack's Mo EP50, and it's by far the best backpack that I've ever owned. So in this video I'm going to show you why I think this is such a great pack. We're going to be taking a look at some of its unique features. We'll see how it stood up to 3 years of wear and tear, and I'll show you the one thing I've had to do to modify the pack to make it perfect for me. So I've had this backpack for around 3.5 years now, and I thought it's about time that I gave it a proper review. I've used it on a number of different multi-day hikes, including the West Island Way, the Cumbria Way, Derwent Watershed, Edale Skyline, 3 days up in the Cairngorms in Scotland, as well as a few dozen overnight trips as well. It's not the best conditions for filming, but beggars can't be choosers, and I do need to get my steps in, so I thought I'd bring the camera along and we'll talk about this backpack. This is the Atom Pack's Mo EP50. They don't actually make this model anymore. It's been upgraded and it's now called the Prospector, I think it is. It's a 50-litre backpack. It's by far the best backpack that I've ever owned. So Atom Pack's a small British company. They're based in Keswick in the Lake District, and they were started by a fella called Tom he says he's done about 12,000 miles of long distance hiking. It started off when he was doing the Appalachian Trail, I believe it was, and he found that I think he's 6'6", 6'7", that he couldn't get a backpack that really suited him, so he wanted to make something that was more customizable. The company was born out of necessity, really. Started off with borrowing one of his friend's sewing machines, never sewn before, taught himself how to do it, and now he's got, you know, a small business with several other machinists working in his little factory up in the northwest of England. I'll start off with the elephant in the room, which is the price of these packs. These are all handmade, like I've said, and they're using some of the, the best materials. And I think Tom said that their mission statement was to build outdoor equipment that lasts their lifetime. And so this has been through the mill a little bit, and it is still in remarkably good condition. This pack new costs £270, and that doesn't include the extras that are like, hip belt pockets. I think these are another £20 or £30 a piece. You can buy some of these ready made off the shelf, but also they are fully customizable, so you can do whatever you want to this pack. You can choose the colour of the bungee cords, the colour of the panels. There's different torso lengths. You can have different extras, different types of closures. I'll put a link in the description below to the Prospector, and you can have a go at just playing around, creating your own backpack, just to see what it would look like. Anyway, you haven't got to buy it or anything like that, but just have a play just to see what it's like. It's a bit like a backpacker's version of Minecraft. A lot of fun. So let's get into my particular pack anyway. This is the 50-litre version of the Mo. I'm not sure what the EP stood for on it. The main compartment of the pack's very simple. It's just a single cylindrical storage unit. It's about 40 litres inside. It's got the strap over the top, so if you're travelling abroad and you need a bear canister or something like that, or you want to put your tent on, you can do that. I'm just strapping my sit mat on there. Again, you've got multiple options for this, and then on top you've got a roll closure. I've just got a bin liner for my sack. So this is actually, I wouldn't say it's a fully waterproof pack, but it's almost, because the actual stitching is not tape seam, so you will get some odd bit of moisture through there, but it's been raining for the last hour or so, and the bag inside is perfectly dry. Really easy to fasten, just a couple of press studs. Then just roll it down, so you can actually have this a little bit smaller, or you can overfill it a little bit if you wanted, so you could get, I've had my winter gear in this pack, no bother. And then there's two little straps down the side that just clip on. You can, if you wanted, just clip it over the top like that, but I like everything a bit tidier. Just clip it down the side and tension it down. So inside the pack there is an internal frame, which I think they've changed the design of this now, but in here, if I can get it out, there's like a little bit of plastic with an aluminium frame down the middle, and then you can bend this. So I bent this to follow the contour of my torso on the back, so you know it fits nice and snug. So you can get these in different lengths, so I think mine's a 17 to 19 inch one. So along with the internal frame, there's the hip belt support with lumbar support there. The hip belt is actually removable if you don't want it on there, but it carries loads really, really well. It's the most comfortable pack that I've ever used. So the padding on these shoulder straps is really comfortable as well. I know that they use a really good quality foam inside, so you know the foam does deteriorate, but this hasn't deteriorated at all. I went for the load lifters as well. I think that is an added option. Like all of these are options. You don't have to have, I think this is a Dyneema stretch, but you can get like an even bigger pocket than this, which gives you an extra 5 litres, I think. This is great for putting your waterproofs in or things that you want to get out quickly. And then there's even more. You know, if you've got your outer fly of your tent that's really, really wet and you want to dry it throughout the day on your hike, you just stick it in there and let it hang off. Tighten that up as well. There's 2 really large, you know, elasticated pockets on there, so I could get 2 of these Nalgene bottles in there if I wanted to, quite comfortably. And then, you know, you can tighten this up with a bungee on there as well. But yeah, you could even put your tent in there if you wanted to, and just have it, you know, fastened on with these bungees here. Done that a few times. When it comes to backpacks, one of the most asked questions I've had is, where do you get these pockets from for your shoulder straps? Well, these are actually sewn into the straps, and you can get a decent sized water bottle in there. I don't like to use a bladder, so I have 1 small water bottle, and then in this side is where I keep my water filter. You can, if you want, mix these up, have different colour pockets and stuff when you customise your pack. Now the bungees are really good on this, and say they've all got little cinch toggles on them, so you can tighten things up if you want to. I've got another sneaky hidden pocket here that I didn't know that I needed, but this gets used a lot. This is where I either put my waterproof trousers, they just sit in the bottom there, or if you're on trail and you're having a snack and you want somewhere to put your rubbish, or you want somewhere to store your map that you can just keep getting at it without, you know, having to keep taking your pack off, just reach round. Let me just move that out of the way so you can see it. Get your rubbish and just shove it in there, and then it's there until you get to your waste or recycling bit. Or you could pull your map out, have a look where you're going, shove it back in again. So there is dual sides to the hip belt adjustment, so you can really, you know, tailor it in. It's much better than just having a single strap on each one. And so you can do it a little bit lower and then not have it quite as tight for the top one if you don't need it quite as tight. Easy access and 2-way zips, I think it is. Yeah, on the hip belt pocket. You know, if you just want somewhere to store your snacks or your keys. You can adjust the position of your sternum strap. I like the fact that it's got a little bit of bungee on there, so it's not all or nothing. There is a little bit of giving. Although I wish that these were just a little bit lower for me. Although you can still access things easy enough. The pack's a little bit modular as well, so things like the hip belt pockets you can actually remove if you want. So I use the same pockets on my other pack, so I didn't have to get 2 sets of pockets. They're just held on with a little bit of elastic round there, and then there's a little hook just clips on there, which there we go, we're in. For the really cold weather, I got the 60 litre version of this as well, so these are just interchangeable. Let's have a closer look at the condition of the pack. So I did the West Highland Way, which was over 100 miles, the Cumbria Way, which was, we did about 75 miles, Derwent Valley, Derwent Watershed, should I say, Derwent Valley Heritage Way. I think I used an Osprey lightweight pack. The bottom of the pack has got Don't know what this is, but it is really tough. So the pack's been on the ground loads of times. It's been chucked on rocks. There's no real wear or tear on it. I can't remember what this material is called. I think it's X-Pack. And there is some Dyneema on here as well, so really durable stuff. This is the area that I've had most problems with on backpacks, where the shoulder straps actually tear off. There's no sign at all of these getting torn or worn. So when I pick the bag up, I always use one shoulder strap and this here. I wouldn't just pick it up by that when the pack's fully loaded. By the way, the pack, it weighs 1 kilo and 30 grams, 1 kilogram and 30 grams, and that's including these removable hip belt pockets. Got a tiniest little bit of loose stitch in there. That is it. It's not actually loose, it's just, I'll let you decide. All of the buckles are still fine. I have the odd problem when these sort of occasionally pop out. When you've adjusted them, if you adjust them too far, it pops out and then you've got to fiddle trying to get it rethreaded again, but that's user error. I've been really impressed with all of the bungee stuff. A lot of things that I've had with bungee on, after a while, the stretch sort of stops and it goes a little bit saggy. There's a tiny bit there, but if something's in there, it is not coming out. I've got some packs where this is like flapping about nowadays, but this has been really, really good. It's got a loop and a bungee system here for putting an ice axe or your trekking poles in. One thing that this didn't have that was a must for me was one of those quick deploy trekking pole holders, loops, whatever you want to call it. You get those on Osprey packs. I really wanted one on here. I haven't brought my trekking pole with me, but we're going to improvise. I've got a little trekking pole. There's a little loop down here where my trekking pole would go through, and then there's another little loop on there, and then my trekking pole is being held. So I'm the sort of person that doesn't use them all the time, but there are certain sections where I need my trekking poles. I don't want to have to be taking my pack off. I just want to be able to go like this, get my trekking pole out and trek. So that's the only modification that I've done to the pack. I will show you how I've done it now. So it didn't require any sewing at all. I've got a little bit of paracord going through this little sleeve where the lumbar support goes through, and then through here I've got a bit of bungee going through some little rubber pipe, I think it is. It's just tied on there, and then I've got it carabined onto this little loop that's part of the thing, and then that just gives me like a bungee-fied slot to put my trekking pole through. I did cheat a little bit on the front, so I stole this bit from my Osprey Talon 22, because I didn't really use that for day hiking so much, for the trekking poles anyway. But again, it's just a bit of bungee tied through there with a little bit of plastic on it. Don't even need that bit of plastic on, just a little bit of bungee through one of these loops, and then you can just tighten it up once your trekking poles are in. I've just noticed a bit of wear. That is it. It's just a bit of scraping on there, just where, when your water bottle's sticking out and you catch it on going through gates and things like that. A little bit same on the other side. All of the stitching on this is top notch, to be fair. Anything that needs reinforcing a little bit is mega stitching. The two major factors for me that makes this pack stand out is comfort and the durability of it. I've got lots of backpacking and items that wear out. This actually, it does get rubbed up against stuff. It does get thrown onto the ground. It does get scrapes and stuff here and there, and it's holding out really, really well. So when comparing it to some of the other packs that I've got, so I've got the Osprey Exos, for example. All of the bungee thing now is just in tatters. You caught it on a little bit of a thorn bush and it would tear. I've had 2 packs. One that I've repaired myself was a Van Gogh Contour where the shoulder strap fell off. These have not shown any sign of wear at all. When it comes to ruggedness, I've got the Singy Steuben from Fjordhaven and I've got a Osprey Archie on. They're really, really well made packs, but they're a lot heavier. So this is an ultralight pack. It's not the lightest pack you can get, but there's a compromise, isn't there, between having the lightest, but will that be the most durable? This is clearly a bit of backpacking equipment that has been designed and made by a backpacker. All of the features, such as easy access to your water bottles, a little storage pouch behind, there's not anything on there that you don't need. It's got to be durable, and like I said, it is customizable as well, so you can add other bells and whistles. So obviously the hardest pill to swallow with this backpack is the price. With all of the add-ons, if you wanted to add hip belt pockets, some of the customizations cost a little bit more. You can be paying over £300 for a backpack, and it is a lot of money. But if this eventually dies, would I buy another one? Yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah, I can't say every day of the week because I couldn't afford to, but by the end of the day, I've used this pack to carry all of my gear over multiple day trips, the West Highland Way, Cumbria Way, and it was so comfortable to carry. Yeah, I was tired at the end of the day, but I didn't have aching shoulders. I didn't feel like I needed to take the pack off all the time. In fact, there were times where I find it easier to take a break and leave the pack on, just because of the comfort factor, than having to haul it back on my back again. Yeah, it's a lovely bit of kit. I would definitely buy it again. It's up to you whether you think it's worth the money. Let me know in the comments, would you pay £300 for a backpack? You can pay that for an off-the-shelf Osprey one, I suppose, can't you? Or I think Osprey do a backpack that's about 600 quid. I think they made ones like a concept of if you could have everything on a backpack, this is what it would, what it would cost you. I don't think anyone would buy it though, would they? Let me know in the comments if you've used an Atom Packs pack. Atom Packs pack, easy for you to say. What do you think of it? But that is it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you found the video useful. See you next time.